Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern Ned Reynolds, back in the studio on a Monday morning. I can finally say I'm in a good mood. Chiefs finally got a dub.
And that's what counts. That's the bottom line, is a win, 22-9 over the New York Giants. There was never a time in that game when this reporter felt like the Giants were ever going to challenge. I know it was 6-6 and 9-6 and all that, but Kansas City's defense, which won it for them, is so doggone quick and aggressive that New York had absolutely no answer to that at all. I had to feel badly for Russell Wilson. He is not the Russell Wilson of the past, but then again, come on, he's not a kid. He's been around and taking a beating, but he is not as poor as his numbers show. He only completed 18 passes for 32 attempts, 18 or 32, and under 200 yards, 160, I think it was. The fact of the matter remains that he can't get it done when everybody's in his face. Their offensive line just completely disheveled anything that the New York Giants tried. In the meantime, you know, Mike, Kansas City is the most watched team in the NFL. The Chiefs have been, because they're an exciting team. Mahomes able to generate all sorts of magic and so forth and so on. That magic wasn't there last night and hasn't been in the first couple of games. Now, they did get the win, and that's a key, and they may win once these receivers become available again. Xavier Worthy and, of course, Rashee Rice. But the fact remains they are not quite the Chiefs of the past. Things have changed to some extent. They may be playing themselves out of the marquee TV, which wouldn't be a bad thing because it's going to give them some rest and so forth and so on. But last night's game, in all honesty, I found to be a little bit on the ho-hum side. Kansas City gets the win. They needed to get the win. I think the barometer as to how they're going to do will be next week when they play the Baltimore Ravens. The game will be in Kansas City. The Chiefs have had the winning edge over the Ravens all that time, but hey, the fact of the matter remains that will be much more of a challenge than New York was. I never thought New York had a chance.
I agree with everything you say about the defense. I thought they just keep looking better and better every week. Again, Giants, but the Giants scored 40 points week before, so good job, Kansas City Chiefs D. Yeah, missing these receivers is a big deal, but it doesn't matter who you're there if your quarterback's overthrowing them. And I mean, for some reason, Patrick just has not been on the money. I don't know what it is. I don't want to ever talk a bunch of trash on this. The Taylor situation is just getting more and more frustrating every week, too. That penalties, lining up, offsides. You're getting paid millions and millions of dollars. Your team is out there, got your back. Everyone's got your back. But it's like, dude, fix these things. You know?
What you're also failing to mention is that there were a number of them that were not called, that were penalties too. This guy, he's going to get him in trouble unless they do something.
It's extremely frustrating. But again, a dub's a dub. I'm not going to sit here and talk trash because I think things are starting to look better. There were glimpses of that magic, but again, another thing, Patrick Mahomes still the rushing leader. 125 rushing yards so far this season, and we can't have that.
But how many did he rush for last night?
Probably
2 yards. That's all he rushed for last night. The others combined for 79 yards. I think the Chiefs' offensive scheme of things, and that's really Andy Reid. I think you can't have this guy running the ball. You're going to get him killed out there. And that won't work because without Mahomes, you don't have anything.
Yeah, we're done.
I think they've taken that away a little bit as an option. In fact, he had a chance to pick up a first down last night, ran almost to the line of scrimmage, and unloaded it looked like a 50-yard pass. Interference call, I debate that, but it was an interference call, got them set to go, and they were able to score on that one. That helped. But the bottom line is this. You can't do that, though. You can't have your star player, unless he's a running back, running that many times. You're absolutely right. They have to take that away. And last night, I think it showed that he ran for 2 yards.
See what happens. I do agree with the statement and the sentiment that I've heard several times over the last few weeks from different players that we're this close. And you can feel that, too. And, again, A dub's a dub. Go Chiefs forever. Yesterday, the Springfield Cardinals hosted the first game in the championship series at Hammons Field. Not too good of a start.
No, had the lead 3-0 and let it get away. And the Midland Rockhounds come away to win the ball game by a score of 6-3. And it's only best of 3 series, so they have a chokehold on this series now that moves to Midland, Odessa, Texas tomorrow night. And the Springfield Cardinals and the Midland Rockhounds. Midland is the AA farm club of the Athletics. And you'll notice we leave the name of the city off there because that's the way Major League Baseball has mandated it. They're Sacramento right now, but they won't be for too much longer. They'll go to Las Vegas. Anyway, the game will start at 6:30 Central Time, and time of it is key here on this show because 6:30 for that game next Sunday when the Chiefs play the Baltimore Ravens. That will be a 3:25 kickoff, so we'll be on at 1 o'clock on that Sunday. But as far as Springfield Cardinals, they play again tomorrow night and have to win. It's a best-of-3 series.
Go Birds. We got pretty busy weekend for local college football teams. How'd the Bears do?
Well, the Bears played Tennessee Martin, and it was quite obvious from the get-go that the Bears were a dominant team. They win at 42-10. Could have been much, much worse than that, but Coach Beard substituted a lot of the youngsters in the ball game, and that made a difference in the score in a respect. But Tennessee Martin was just no contest. Jacob Clark threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for 2 more before they finally took him out of the ball game. There was a 40-minute delay it was a kickoff, and there was a long delay there while they decided whether or not it was a fumble on the kickoff, which it was to the Bears' advantage. And then here comes the rain. Now, it was raining. I did not hear any thunder, did not see any lightning, but apparently the radar said there was lightning, so the game was delayed for another 40 minutes. Ned Reynolds, dripping on the sideline, said, I wonder here. Anyway, good crowd, 14,000 on hand. Many of them took shelter in the stadium. Anyway, that's what makes it a lot of fun. The Bears get a nice win over a Tennessee Martin team who they should have beaten. Now, next week is the conference opener, and the Bears will play Western Kentucky, one of the better teams in Conference USA and a former champion. That will be a big one, and that is a home game starting at 6. Missouri held off South Carolina 29-20, and the Tigers have their homecoming next Saturday. And the homecoming opponent is Massachusetts, UMass. And they just simply are not very good at all. This will be a runaway for Mizzou. Evangel lost their first game of the year, fell to McPherson down in Nixon 17-10, and now go out to play Friends next Saturday, and that'll be out in Wichita.
A lot of fun, though. I love me some college football. All right, in addition to all of that, which it just seems like everyone's playing something right now, we also had a race on the East Coast yesterday.
And you're right about that. Everybody is playing something right now. I had to leave a number of items off the agenda today, including the Fed. It's not called the Fed Cup anymore. It's called the Billie Jean King Cup, and it's the women's version of the Davis Cup. Had to leave that off, talk about that later this week, and the World Track and Field Championships, which are coming to an end. Anyway, the race in New Hampshire raced at Loudon, New Hampshire, and Ryan Blaney, who led nearly the entire portion of the second half of the race, gets the win. And with that win, he is one of the 8 semifinalists now going into the racing. This is the playoffs that are going on. The rest of the field will be reduced after next week and the following week, and then it's on to the Final 4 in the NASCAR. Now, everybody races. Don't get me wrong. There's still 40 racers out there, but there are only a handful who are eligible for the NASCAR championship.
And everyone can screw with their trip to that championship, which makes it even more fun to watch. Ned, have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.